you can see behind me allegedly beautiful scenery. They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So here's the first thing they'll tell you when you listen to a tour guide. They say the English took down all the oak trees in this country in the 1700s, right, to make ships. So where's all the 400-year-old oak trees then that weren't chopped down by the English? Can you see them? No, because they're not there. Why are they not there? Because the Dadan apartheid regime cut them all down on the Jesuits. They cut down all the trees, look. So you can't hide from their God. The abomination that causes desolation when you run flee to the mountains. He can chase you across them fields. So when you come to Ireland, they'll hand you a pint of Guinness. Alchemy. They'll say, I have a pint of poison. They'll turn the Harper David around the wrong way. They'll hand you a pint of alchemy. The Queen was wise enough not to drink it, God bless her, God save the Queen. Anyway. So where's all the oak trees that the English didn't chop down? Because the English are getting blamed on a lot of stuff that's nothing didn't do. They didn't do it. Because when this the squirrel could have allegedly travel from Northern Ireland down to the south of Ireland, or vice versa, without touching the ground about 200 years ago. So these birds cut down all the oak trees. See if you go on the field on the back here. This field looks nice because it's where the tourists are, but if you get right down the back, the tear amongst the wheat is poisoning the field down there. Everything is dead. He's at the digging up all the ground. He's at the pouring all this poison down on the field. And now everything is dying. He's trying to kill off because people walk down into his field and pick mushrooms or something. So he poisoned everything. So if you pick mushrooms down there, you get poisoned. But there's no sign saying this field has been poisoned. You just walk down and you pick the mushrooms, or you pick whatever else, a leaf, and you eat it. He's after poisoning you. There are tares amongst the wheat. What does that mean? Well, it could mean that one of your families could be married to a tare and they're in the house, turning their family against one another. Or it could mean there's a hare over there sitting there looking at me. Or it could mean that all the farmers are tares amongst the wheat. The field, the wheat being a metaphor for the fields. And that they've chopped down all the trees. And they're making way for their God when he comes. And they're making sure there's plenty of cows. Because it's 3-4-4 from. I smell the blood of an English man. Be he alive or be he dead. I grind his bones to make my bread. Flee to the mountains when you see the abomination that causes desolation. Standing in the holy place. Another thing about this island. If you look in the history books, this island has hundreds of different names. And I was thinking, why the fuck has it got so many names? Only one reason to do that, it's overkill. They're trying to obscure the real name of this island, or real. In the Bible it's called the Isles of Elijah. But I suspect that's the land of milk and honey. Because if you look at the evidence, the written evidence is this place was full of honey and full of cows. Cows were the currency here. So basically this is the land of milk and honey, and we're the holy people. So they keep us drunk. Yeah, they keep us drunk and stupid. So every time you go to a foreign country, let's have a drink with the old stupid Irish. They keep you drunk when you go to England, for definite. When you go to England and you're a big meathead of a paddy and you're going to have a row, they keep you drunk and sniffed up until you're weak enough for them to fuck you over with the English police. The police over in England, they have a doubt on fine art. This is what happens over here in this country, yeah? The Irish Republican movement will identify a young man who's not prepared to be with them. They'll run him over. They won't blow him away. Maybe they'll blow him away. Depends if he can escape. He'll escape to England. They'll rat to the English police everything about him. The English police will work with the Irish Republican movement through MI6 or something like that to destroy this individual. So basically, when he comes over, he has to contest with all the English people who think that he's a Republican because he's Irish accent and they're being racist. They're assuming that he's a Republican when actually he's not. He's been ran over for the exact reasons, the exact opposite reasons, that he's definitely not a Republican, that he's a monarchist, and he wants to restore his ancestral home and his kingdom, which is rightfully his, and elements in the Terce and the Jesuit order are hell-bent on this happening. And they also stop this man from breeding any more sons, because this man's a handful. This man has the blood of kings in him. He has the blood of David in him, all the way back to the Hebrews. He's made, his DNA is made for fucking up giants and shit, and Terce. And the Terce God, the last thing he wants is more people, because it was actually one of the reasons why the Terce actually fucked off into the throne of the Prince of Tyre, which is the moon. He said, I will ascend my throne above the clouds. The reason why he fucked off is because they were getting lashed over by the Hebrews. They were big, huge things. And another reason is because they want to hide the evidence of the giants. So they have a group of people called the Smithsonians, they're called. And the Smithsonians, they hide the evidence of the giants. But if you want to see loads of evidence of giants, if you have Facebook, you just Google Trey Smith and you'll see all the evidence of giants that you never need to see. Skulls, bones, all sorts of stuff like that. I lived with a tribe of Native Americans and they have stories of when they burnt a lot of giants. The giants, to this day, in the islands, Solomon Islands, they're supposed to be giants. The stories of giants. It's a hibernate. So this is how a giant has an elongated skull, a big huge cranium. Cows playing chasing. He has an elongated skull, yeah? But that's not your natural form. They tell you that you have to be tall, but you're not meant to be tall like that. You're meant to develop wings and fly off like a bee. That's why it's the land of milk and honey. But they have you convinced that you need to be the big, tall, what they call an Aryan, the master race. So we're the Goyim. The reason why they call us Goyim is because we're cattle. And they have all the trees and all chopped down. So when the giants come from wherever they are, they're going to be flesh-eating giants. Because over and over again in the book of Psalms it says, when my enemies and foes came against me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. And then another verse says, they eat my children like bread. So there's lots of cannibalism and vampirism and all being, that's what it's all about in the Bible. That's the one thing that God doesn't like. Drinking and eating blood. Eating flesh and drinking blood. So that's probably what got Adam and Eve kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Because that won't make much sense to you unless you've read the book of Enoch. And you listen to what Jesus was saying. He said, man, in the book of Enoch he says man is an apple. Man is an apple. And then if you look at him, he's a tree. How is he a tree? Well, if you look inside my hand here, I have loads of veins. Millions of them. And if I stand with my legs up and my hands up like that, and all you can see is my veins, so I'm a tree. And here's me Adam's apple. Yeah? And Jesus says the blood is the life. So when God's talking about the Garden of Eden, he says the tree of the knowledge of the tree of life, the knowledge of good and evil. So Adam and all didn't know any evil. They weren't given over to the power of death until Eve took a bit of blood, a bite out of the Adam's apple and gave it to Adam and they drank it. That was that. The tree of life, the knowledge of good and evil. And that was the fall in the Garden of Eden.